Welcome to BT Report. I am BT, and for sponsorship information, go to pmlbsports.com, click on the BT Reports link, and it'll be Fila.com is our sponsor for the show. What I wanted to start off talking about today, I want to start off talking about the hashtag rally for Mark Hunt that is going on Twitter, it's going on Facebook. Everybody's rallying for Mark Hunt in the UFC to face Junior Dos Santos in the championship game ever since Alistair Overeem tested positive. He pissed dirty for steroids. Mark Hunt I like as the sort of an underdog in this the race for it. I don't want Frank Mir to be the one taking on the title. I don't like Frank Mir. Not a big fan of Frank Mir. And I think I would like Mark Hunt because the way he dismantled the last fight he had. Fabricio Werdum's another good one, but I am now in for the rally for Mark Hunt, just like Joe Rogan is and a few other high-profile announcers for UFC. They have all started to rally around Mark Hunt. And I think it'd be an interesting matchup. You look at the hands that Mark Hunt has versus the overall of JDS. Mark Hunt doesn't really have a real good record, but I think he could come in, he'd do a little bit of damage to JDS. I'm not sure if he could pull off a victory, but it's definitely a fight that I would like to see now that Alistair Overeem is no longer in that possibility, as long as that appeal is overturned by the Nevada Commission and it stays the way it is. I want to move on from that to another UFC topic. I wanted to give a quick John Jones and Rashad Evans update. You know, they were going back and forth, jawing back and forth. You gotta love the picture of John Jones looking away from Rashad Evans, absolutely no respect. During this fight, I will see that the reach of John Jones, the athleticism of John Jones, will outdo the quickness of Rashad Evans. In this, I think Rashad goes down, gets either TKO'd or submitted in the third round. I don't think it goes by the third round. This will be a fight quick for John Jones. John Jones will continue to show he is dominant, and I think it will lead up to, hopefully, what I've been pressing for is the ultimate Anderson Silva versus John Jones at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium with over 100,000 people watching. I'd pay to watch it. I'm sure you'd pay to watch it too. It'd be a great fight. And I want to go from that to talking about another fight that's being fought, is the Ozzie Guillen comments about Fidel Castro, coming out saying that he loves Fidel Castro and respects Fidel Castro for still being there. When all this came out originally, there was a lot of backlash. A lot of people from Cuba were like, how could you even say that? I think a lot of it got lost in translation, going from his Venezuelan Hispanic language to English. I think it was more of, I respect this guy, not so much respect, but I think I respect the guy has been able to live this long and not been killed, even though he's one of the most hated men in the world. But it comes off, I respect this guy. No, I respect this guy. Something could easily be clearly lost. Ozzie Guillen was suspended 5 games by his team, the Florida Marlins, or Miami Marlins now. And the MLB does not look like they're going to issue out a punishment. But Ozzie Guillen, I think a lot of it got lost in translation. I think that this will enable him to become closer with the Miami Marlin fans. Now that he is out there in Little Havana, in Miami, talking with some of these people and going and seeing what these people experienced, I think this could actually bring him closer to the Marlins fans than if he would have just come in and not said anything and just done everything. Through this, he's able to go and see what these people have been through. He's talked to wives that have had their husbands murdered in Cuba, and he's talked to people that have lost family members and have lost friends. And I think through this, not only is he, but the rest of us are getting recognition on what is actually happening in Cuba. You know, we turned a blind eye to it. We don't know what's going on. But you look at what he's learning, and he's like, wow, I should have never even put Fidel Castro's name in the same sentence with love and respect. Because that's not what Fidel Castro is about. Fidel Castro is about hate and murder and greed. There's enough on that topic. I'm going to go to the NHL Playoffs. Very exciting time. We're going to start Wednesday night, going to Thursday, and over the next few weeks, the NHL Playoffs, the quest for the Stanley Cup for 2012 has started. I want to give out some quick picks on each series. In the first series, the LA Kings versus the Vancouver Canucks. I think it's no contest. I think the Canucks are by far the best team, sorry Darren, that are in the West playoffs. They got the #1 seed. And I think the Vancouver Canucks will easily, 5-6 games, Vancouver will take it. Game over. In the St. Louis and the San Jose Sharks, I'm liking St. Louis in this matchup. I love how last year a bunch of people were doubting the Yaroslav Halak trade from the Canadiens to the St. Louis Blues, and everybody's like, I don't know if it's such a good deal after he struggled last year. They end up with the number 2 seed this year. They got veterans in the locker room like Jason Arnott, a few other guys like that are good. They have good offense, good defense, and a really good goalie. And then the Chicago Blackhawks and the Phoenix Coyotes. Even though the Phoenix won the Pacific Division, I do not see them beating Chicago. Chicago just has too many weapons with Taves and Kane and Hossa. I think that mixed with the goalie there in Chicago, I think Chicago takes it. That one I see go 6 or 7 games. I don't think it'll be an easy series for Chicago to take, but I do see Chicago winning it. And that takes me to Detroit and Nashville, the final matchup of the Western Conference. I like Detroit in this matchup. The 5 versus 4 is probably the closest matchup you're going to get. I like Detroit in this matchup over Nashville. Detroit, to me, with Jimmy Howard, is an amazing goalie. They're a veteran team. This is what they're built for. They're not built for the regular season. They're built for the playoffs. And every year they make a run deep in the playoffs, and this is the year that they're going to be deep. So that's my first 4 picks on the Western Conference. Now for the Eastern Conference, I want to go to Ottawa and New York. I love Ottawa's offense with Jason Spezza and Milan Michalek and Erik Karlsson, the 20-year-old defenseman. But I love New York. Even though they struggled in the last game against Washington, I love New York because of Henrik Lundqvist. They have a solid D that blocks, 15, 20 shots a game. The 30 that get to the goalie, he stops most of them. He's an elite goalie, probably one of the best in the last 10 years, say top 3. He's an amazing goalie. He's very stable. I think he will lead New York to a win over Ottawa. And that takes me to Washington and Boston. I like Washington in this series. Washington every year has come in as the number 1 or number 2 seed, come in and then choked in the first or second round. This year, they're a 7 seed. There's no pressure on you. You come in, you put in work. They have the talent of a number 1 and number 2 seed as shown by their last few years of earning a number 1 and number 2 seed. I think this year they're coming in a little bit more loose. You got Dale Hunter as a new coach who came in. He's an ex-Washington Capitals enforcer/scorer. He's a good guy. I think he will push this team, led by 22-year-old rookie goalie Braden Holtby, who I am personally a fan of and was hoping he was going to get the start over Michael Neuwirth. And I think this series, Washington takes it in 5 or 6 over the Boston Bruins. That takes me to New Jersey Devils and the Florida Panthers. I like the Devils because of Martin Brodeur. I think they have Elias, Kovalchuk. All those guys will make for a better series. And I think the Devils will dismantle the Florida Panthers, even though the Panthers won the Southeast Division. I don't see the Panthers advancing past the New Jersey Devils. And that takes me to the final matchup of the East, the 4 versus 5. Philadelphia versus Pittsburgh, the in-state rivals. I like Pittsburgh in this just because Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, and James Neal, and then Marc-Andre Fleury in goal. I hate it. I hate Crosby. I hate saying it, but I think Pittsburgh's the better team. And I think this matchup could set up for something that I would love to see personally is in the Eastern Conference Finals, a Washington versus Pittsburgh final, which would be two of the greatest guys in hockey right now, Ovechkin and Crosby. I think that would be an absolutely amazing Eastern Conference Finals and something that I am personally rooting for as a Capitals fan. And the last thing I want to talk about today, I want to talk about a little NFL. I can't do a show without talking about NFL. And I wanted to talk about the differences or who's going to have a better chance to succeed in their first year. Now, this is a very simple answer. It's whoever's drafted by the Washington Redskins has a better chance to succeed in the NFL in their first season. I'm not saying they're going to succeed better in the long run. I'm saying in their first season, whichever quarterback, which it stands right now to be RG3, Robert Griffin III, if he goes to Washington, will have a better rookie season than Andrew Luck would in Indianapolis, just based on the defense. Washington has a defense, Indianapolis doesn't. And the fact that Washington has built up this team to be that 1 or 2 missing pieces away from being a contender. The Colts during the offseason have absolutely dismantled their entire team. Not even close. They took out Peyton Manning, Dallas Clark. They released Reggie Wayne and then brought him back. Pierre Garçon, They've just lost so many leaders in that locker room. It's just hard to see them having a great year this year, even if Andrew Luck gets drafted and becomes that perennial, the next Peyton Manning in Indianapolis. I just don't see them coming out and having the same impact as Washington Redskins in this year. So I think whichever quarterback goes to the Redskins, which I believe is RG3, will have a better season than Andrew Luck will in their first season. That's all I got today. You can follow me on Twitter at BT on PMLB. Go to PMLBsports.com for all your needs. We have every sport on there that you can imagine. You got tennis, hockey, golf, soccer, football. Our producer has done an amazing job putting it together. Go to it, visit it, check it out. I'm always putting stuff up on my Twitter daily. And if you have something that you want to ask me, feel free to hit me up on my Twitter. Ask me anything. I'll retweet you. I don't mind. Send me an invite. Do what you got to do. Well, that's all I got for today. Like I said, have a great week.